Hey everybody, Andy from Evolve Natural Fitness, and if you're watching this, you're probably going through one of our online and remote personal training programs. Fantastic, you're in the right place. This is the cool down and static stretch video that you need to follow along to after your workouts. If you found this just generally online, then this should have you covered from a cool down and static stretch perspective. It's something basic that you can do from a standing position, and it will cover you for most workouts, particularly if they've been home-based and body weight orientated. Now, why do we static stretch and why do we cool down in the first place? Well, first of all, there's a safety aspect. Most incidents of dizziness and fainting happen in the locker room after exercise. Now that's because of something called blood pooling. Now our bodies have been working hard through a workout to pump our extremities full of all of the blood and nutrients that it needs. If we just stop abruptly, then potentially they don't return to normal and it leaves our cardiovascular system and our brain wanting. So we want to avoid that. We want to not abruptly stop and just gently bring things back to normal. Second of all, our bodies are primed for static stretching at this time. So our muscles are particularly warm. They will enjoy the most benefit from static stretching, improving their flexibility in turn at this point. Third of all, we're starting to remove lactic acid from our system by this process. That's great. That is promoting and aiding recovery, enabling us to go again quicker. And then finally, this whole process is removing tension from our bodies. Now again, that's a good thing from a recovery perspective, but it's also relaxing and it's getting us in the right mind frame to continue the rest of our day. So follow along with me now and then enjoy the rest of your day after. Okay guys, so the good news is that there is nothing rocket science about this process at all. Basically what we're going to start to do is almost a kind of reverse warm-up. So my motivation is to just continue with some activity, kind of loosely based on what I've been doing, but just slowly in a kind of downward linear fashion, bring my heart rate down. So if you've been playing football, you could just continue to jog around the pitch. If you've been on the tennis court, you could just, again, do a few laps, few side-to-side lateral movements as you would have done in the match, but at a much slower pace and bringing that pace down. The relevance here for the online program is you would have been working out probably in your living room or in your garden. So we're just going to run on the spot and we're just going to slowly reduce the pace that we're doing. What I'll probably do through this couple of minutes of just bringing it down is also add in some movements. So a few side to side arm flaps is great. Anything just to slowly bring down my heart rate. A little bit of heavy breathing, deep breathing, but you get the idea. Just a couple of minutes. I'm just going to make it slower and slower and slower until I end up in a standing walk. So what you're aiming for is a couple of minutes with the movement and then standing walk for another minute. At that point we're really bringing our heart rate down, just kind of letting our body know what's going on now. So then we'll move into the static stretches. Much like the warm-up, I like to work bottom up through the body, just as a useful cue to help you know where you're at and what you need to do. So what we're going to start with is a calf stretch. So both feet facing forward. I'm going to move forward with a bend in my front knee. In this instance, it's my right knee, and I'm keeping my heel and the back leg planted on the floor, both feet facing forward. Lean forward into that stretch. Now I'm going to hold that for at least 10 seconds. You should be feeling that now in your calf. So hold that now for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Same with the other leg. So a step forward. Both of my feet are facing forward. Back heels planted on the ground. Lean forward into that, making sure that heel is planted on the ground at the back. You should again feel that stretch in your calf. And again hold for a good 10 seconds. 5 more seconds. Great. So calves onto hamstrings, moving up the body. So I'm going to take a small step forward with my left leg. Only a little step, as you can see. Both of my feet are facing forward again. This time my back leg is going to bend, in this instance my right leg, and my left leg is going to stay forward, and I'm going to push my bum down to the ground. So you should feel a stretch just behind your knee through the hamstrings, and we're just going to hold that again for at least 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great. Changing legs, so my right leg is now forward, it's only a small step. Both of my feet are facing forward, and then my back leg is going to bend, in this instance my left leg. Straight leg at the front of my right, bum low. Should be feeling that on the back again of your knee, in the hamstring. Hold for at least 10 seconds. Great. Moving on to my quads. Let's see how your balance is now. But you want your bum to heel, arm can come out. You can lean on something if you need to. Lots of people, particularly in early stages of my programs, will be needing to lean on something. Looking for at least 10 seconds in that leg, and then 10 on the other leg. Nice and simple, again, perfectly okay to lean on something. Now in this, we're working on the presumption that we're just standing, you've got nothing around you. So we're trying to make it as simple and as easy as possible. Okay, then we're going to look at glutes and the hips. So we're just going to pull knee up as high as we can go. Again, this will check your balance. Could do this against the wall if balance is an issue, but I'm just pulling that knee into my chest. Should be feeling a good stretch on my glute. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Same on the other side. Up as high as it can go. Holding that another 5 seconds from now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great. I like to remobilize my spine at this point. So this isn't, I guess, strictly a static stretch, but I think it is very worthwhile adding in to this cool down process. So we're going to keep our hands to our sides, and we're just going to push our hands down towards our knees, keeping our shoulders back upright. And then I'm going to cross my arms and just rotate my trunk about 5 each side. Again, as I say, this isn't strictly static stretching, these two movements, but I think rotating the spine and rotating the trunk is just a fundamental good thing to do, and this little bit of movement is also about right in terms of bringing our heart rate down at this stage. Okay, so now we're moving up the body to our chest. First, basic stretch, hands behind me, pushing out. Should feel that open up your chest a little. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hands now onto my buttocks, and I'm going to try and push my elbows together. Just open up my chest again. Obviously the elbows won't touch, but the process of trying to push them together just opens up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, now thinking about shoulders, upper back as well. My hands don't cross, they come over, and I just push out in front whilst keeping my shoulders back. Quite a difficult cue here to get across, but my shoulders are still staying back, and then I'm pushing out and holding from there. Okay, hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then I replicate. I don't put my fingers together and clamp them, they just go over, straight above my head. Hold. Another 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then again, I guess this isn't strictly static, but then I'm just going to move over one side, move over to another. Again, looking at some rotation. Just good movement patterns. 4 or 5 each side. And then I always like to just finish with rolling my arms for 20-30 seconds. I guess when we go back to the releasing tension and also getting lactic acid out of our system, we're just opening up the diaphragm a little bit for this 20-30 seconds, letting optimal air come in. And I think that's a really good thing in terms of our body now knowing that we're relaxed. We should be soaking up as much as we can, ready for relaxation, recovery, ready to go again. Okay guys, that's it, really basic, but you do need to go through it after each workout. These get more complex as you get more advanced in your training age, and they get much more complex if you're working with me on a strength and conditioning basis around sport or an athlete. So well done, look forward to the next workout and keep an eye out for new videos.